Lulu's here.
I didn't. I came to see her.
What? Nikolas, my darling. Oh, so dramatic. It's lovely to see you again. Under any circumstance.
Save the civilities, please. I certainly intend to.
Did you bring the children with you? I do hope so. It's been far too long since Spencer sat down with me and learned the stories of his legacy.
Let's hope they're not bedtime stories. He'd never sleep again.
It's important that Aidan be informed as well.
You mean indoctrinated?
You test me.
Spencer is somewhere safe, and Aidan is with his parents.
Really? Well, I was hoping that you had rethought all of that. Well, surely you know you shouldn't give credence to Elizabeth's 11th hour claims. A woman who wears desperation like some women wear perfume.
I wouldn't put it past you to manipulate a DNA test.
Or two.
Shouldn't you be off having your own family illusions shattered?
My dad's not going to push me away.
Well, if he shows up, you know, Luke isn't the most reliable man. Well, take Nikolas, however. No, he feels that he's bound by conventions, but he abandoned his child. No, poor little Aidan is going to grow up being a commoner.
Aidan is not your concern. You leave him alone. And don't even speak his name.
Well, the dark, brooding prince returns. It's so good to have you home. You are home, aren't you?
This isn't my home.
Well, it was for years. The halls are full of memories. No, as a matter of fact, I was just sharing the story of your conception with Lulu.
How Stavros forced himself on our mother?
Careful, dear. People in glass houses.
My parents loved each other.
Well, they grew to love each other. But your father became bored. When I assure you that the first night they spent together was far from a fairy tale. Well, at least Stavros had the decency to consummate the affair in a bed. But Luke opted for the floor of a campus disco.
Decent? There was nothing decent about my father. He was a monster. Our family tree is full of them, each uglier than the one before.
Well, if you feel no kinship for the people who were here before, why come back?
Grandmother, you've been trying to manipulate me since the day I was born, using me as a pawn in this endless war that you have with Luke. But I'm telling you right now, it's done. It's over.
Well, I never pawned you.
You know what? Now that you mention it, you're right. You didn't. I was more like a Trojan horse, per se. Yes? Raised to hate the Spencers, and then you served me up to them as this savior, the donor that was sent to save his sister's life. And that just proves how patient and opportunistic you can be.
Well, I pride myself in paying attention. And Lulu has led a very full life thanks to my efforts.
Oh, this is where you expect gratitude?
I don't expect much from you at all. And neither does your father, for that matter. Now, Luke dedicated his efforts to Lucky. And what a disappointment that turned out to be.
Or attempts to pit the people I love against each other.
Well, I was simply stating a fact. Clearly, Luke favors his son over his daughter. That was it's been through the centuries. Men want an heir, a namesake, someone to carry on their bloodline. Well, if the first child is born and it's a boy, as in Lucky's case, the subsequent child is cast aside. Poor Lulu didn't have a chance. Take our family, for instance. Now, Stavros was the chosen one. And Stefan? A bitter disappointment, to say the least.
You pitted them against each other. The same way you intended Lucky and I to be, brother against brother.
Well, there's nothing wrong with competition within a family. No, it stimulates everyone to raise their game.
This isn't a game, this is his life.
You dropped me in the middle of the Spencers. Okay? And it became a constant reminder of the time that my mother spent here. And you knew how Luke would react to that. And you were hoping that I would take that hostility and then take the torch and keep the Cassadine-Spencer War alive for generations to come. But you were wrong.
Is that so?
I want nothing to do with your ignorant feud or with this family.
But Nikolas, you have to be who you are. A Cassadine, made in the image of Mikos and Stavros. Now their blood runs through your veins. It's time to embrace it.
Is it? Careful what you wish for. This house always felt like prison to me. Cold, imposing, self-possessed, a lot like the people who lived here. Then I moved to Port Charles, met my mother, and I saw how warm and loving she was towards everyone. And that's when I understood why my father was so obsessed with keeping her here. It's because she was a breath of fresh air in an otherwise dank and suffocating environment.
Laura was an insipid woman who brought about the ruin of far too many. Stavros was only the first. Now, poor Luke was saddled with a life in suburbia, stripped of everything that was interesting. Now, it took many years, but he finally freed himself, and I, for one, couldn't be happier.
Of course you are. He's looking to self-destruct, and what better way than with you?
Yeah, you and Luke have this, well, it's sick. This sick duet with each other that's been going on for decades, with no thought of who gets hurt in the wake.
Well, I would never hurt you.
Really? Well, I have evidence to the contrary, grandmother. For the last year of my life, I thought that I was Aidan's father, and as it turns out, Lucky might be his father. That's hurt. That's real hurt. And I'm asking you, was that your plan all along? To switch the paternity test? To have me raise a Spencer child in some ultimate act of revenge?
You are the very image of your father, right down to Stavros's strong jaw. And yet, it's Stefan's influence that shines through. Your uncle was weak, Nikolas, and it ultimately destroyed him. Don't let that happen to you.
Lucky called me after you left. Said that you weren't coming back.
That's right. I apologize to you for not saying goodbye, but I really felt pressed to leave.
Well, I understand that you're hurting, but running away isn't gonna solve anything. I mean, look at my dad. He's taken off to avoid dealing with pain. What does that solve?
You're probably right. Right now, I'm trying to do right by Aidan. I need to be a better father to him than I have been to Spencer. Okay? And what I'm trying to say is look around. Look at where I'm from. And you just witnessed who I'm from. Aidan is better off.
Do you still believe that you could be his father?
I don't know, Lulu. I just don't know.
Well, you could do another DNA test.
No, I can't.
If you're worried about Helena, there are ways...
Lucky needs to believe that he's Aidan's father right now. I can't be the reason he loses another son.